Goddag. Hello. Mine. These days, the 14th and 15th of June, we're celebrating, even here far away from the old country, Denmark, the 100th anniversary of the reunion of the North Slesvig, Sønderjylland. What is it called in Danish? Sønderjylland with Denmark. It was a reunion that happened after 56 years under German rule of North Slesvig. The official handover to Denmark was on June 15, and this is also, by the way, birthday of the Danish flag, the so-called Valdemars Day. And I probably think that you probably remember that we celebrated the 800th anniversary of the Danish flag last year. The history of the old Danish landscape Slesvig and its relation to Denmark is complicated. But very briefly, you could say that since the early Middle Ages, the Danish culture and language was under pressure in North Slesvig, in Slesvig in general. It was probably the involvement of the Danish king in Europe, in North Germany to be specific, and his greed and desire for recognition and power that led to this suppression of Danish culture and language. And in the end, it led also to the suffering of the Danish population in North Slesvig and Slesvig in general under Prussian rules. Well, I guess that it was the Danish king's desire to increase his sphere of interest in North Germany that led to this. He was not content with his little lot, Denmark, and for that reason he gave way to German influence in the old Danish country of Slesvig. Well, for the sake of his own desire and greed. This is a long and complicated history, a story that I won't give you today. Now, I would rather talk about something uplifting and something that we may learn positively from in this tragic history of North Slesvig. Because there's always something good, even in tragedy. I believe that God always uses even our trials and shortcomings for His higher purpose. You just heard the song that we also use for the Sunday service prelude, Det haver så nylig en regning, which really means it has just rained. This song was written and was sung during the time of suppression in North Slesvig. And the rain, the storm that we're singing about, was of course the war in 1864 that led to the loss of Slesvig to Prussia. But it's of course also all the other pressures from the south that curbed Danish language and culture in many, many years. However, there's also hope. Hope in the song. Hope in the song for a new beginning. For the people of North Slesvig. There's a vein of faith. The rights of the Danes in Slesvig will be reinstated. By the way, after this little talk, my little speech here, we will sing another beloved Danish song about Slesvig. But right now, I will try to look at the uplifting part of the reunion, of what we can learn from this beyond Danish chauvinism and pride. I will try to focus on what is inspiring to all people on this earth, because this story is not only a story about the reunion of like-minded people, the Danes. It's also a story about a new path in the world, in a world full of greed and lust for power. It's a story about a road for mankind towards reconciliation and coexistence between people. The history books tell us that after the First World War, Denmark's historical right to Schleswig was brought forward in the negotiation with Germany, even though Denmark was not involved in the war. It was rather because the Allied would like to punish Germany after the war. And the French government even wanted Denmark to claim the entire Schleswig in order to weaken Germany. Also, some Danes wanted to claim all of Schleswig, even though the vast majority in South Schleswig thought themselves as Germans. But luckily, the Danish government insisted that the border was to be determined by a plebiscite. And in that way, this border should be set relatively fair, relatively of course only, in relation to the feelings in the population. Greed was set aside. The desire to rule and govern, too. The lust to hold power was renounced, and the road to reconciliation and peaceful coexistence was paved through a referendum. Germany was not to be punished, and the historical rights of Denmark to the entire Schleswig was left in the history books. And I really think that the cornerstone of a new world order of a friendship and coexistence between people and nations were laid by this referendum. And that the Danish government insisted on a plebiscite is really the most uplifting lesson in the entire history of Schleswig. It's a story about how enemies can become friends and how people can live together in peace and harmony if you really want to and try to. I myself, I have been to South Schleswig several times. I love to come there. I've been to the part of Schleswig, the state in Germany, and I've always felt at home there and always been warmly welcomed by Danes living there, still living there in Germany, as by the Germans living there. And I've also always felt the Danish history there in South Schleswig very present. But there should be no doubt that in general the population feels themselves as Germans. It is an old Danish landscape, but it's not anymore. But I can still feel related to this part of the world, though it's not Danish anymore, but fully German. And I hope and guess that the German minority in North Schleswig, who came to live under Denmark through the reunion, that they feel the same about North Schleswig. They can see their history alive there, but also feel that it is truly and fully Danish. I really do believe so, that that's what they feel. And I think this is good and right. Well, we don't love our country where we live in, or our country of birth, or our heritage. We don't love it because it's better to be like, say, Danish than German or British or Chinese. It's not therefore, that's not the reason why we love our country. The country where we live, the country of birth and our heritage. No. But I still believe that it makes us feel better. It makes us feel better in mind and heart that we know our history and that we treasure who we are by acknowledging where we came from and how our history is. I think this is a beautiful lesson that we can learn from our celebration of the 100th anniversary of the reunion between North Schleswig, Sønderjylland and Denmark. I really think so, and I hope you think so. That is a beautiful lesson of reconciliation between people who have put greed and desire for wealth and power aside. By the way, our little church is, as a matter of fact, as an organization, a part of an organization involved in the Danish minority south of the border. We are our church members of DSUK, the Danish Seamen Churches and Churches Abroad. It is the same organization that sends Danish pastors to us as to South Slesvig. So in a way we are connected to the Danish minority left south of the present border of Denmark in this way. There's another connection beyond our heritage and language. There's another connection to Slesvig. Well, I guess we all love cakes, cookies and pastries. And we all know that Danish cakes, cookies and pastries are world famous. They are the best, so rich and wonderful and so honest. Sometimes also extravagant, but that's another story. Anyway, some people say that the best cakes, cookies and pastry comes from Slesvig, from Sønderjylland. And Slesvig is famous, that's true, for its lavish coffee tables. They actually became a symbol in the struggle for Danish self-determination in North Slesvig. And they're still a part of the landscape, of the culture down there. And a nice coffee table from Sønderjylland, from Slesvig, should of course consist of at least 7 hard or crisp kind of bakery. It could be like these. These are my wife's home-baked lavender cookies, or these vanilla kinds of vanilla rings. They're so hard to get through, right? But they're called hard cakes or cookies. And then of course you have to also have the soft kind. Like this is North American's bakery, it's my wife's still, but it's banana bread, but something that is smooth and soft. It could also be different kind of cream cakes or custard cakes or layer cakes of any kind. But anyway, you have to have, if it should be a really nice coffee table, 5 hard and 5 soft kind of bakery. And this is very biblical, well, in the reverse though, as these hard bakeries symbolizes the many years of hardship under German rules. Well, difficult to get through, right? But then we still have hope. They were all to be followed, these years of suppression, by the good years back in Denmark. The soft, nice, smooth cakes. Originally, the coffee tables were thrown at community halls where alcohol were not allowed. Political meetings banned as well. But you could always have coffee and cake potlucks in the community halls. And then you could spice them with speeches and songs in Danish. Well, of course, they were Danes, so gradually these coffee and cake tables, they became the goal in themselves. Well, of course, the political struggle continued, but at least it was also, just the coffee cake was a goal in itself. Well, for many reasons, but one of the reasons was because the women, the housewives of the rich farms especially, they began competing in bringing the most delicious and the most lavish contribution to the coffee tables. And I guess that is probably why these coffee tables in Slesvig, in Sønderjylland, became so rich and became maybe the most beautiful in all of Denmark. Political struggle for self-determination, and coffee and cake, in other words, in Danish, go hand in hand. If we could have assembled by now at Ansgar we would have at the church would have invited all of you for cake potluck, imitating these Sønderjyske, these North Slesvig's coffee tables. However, we are not assembling yet. Hopefully soon, but not yet. Anyway, I hope that you still will enjoy coffee and cake. I hope that you will today pour yourself a wonderful cup of coffee, like I will do right now in my Danish porcelain. I will hope you will pour it. Enjoy it. And you will find some bakery, hopefully home baked, but if not, something from the store. I will just take a bite of these wonderful lavender cookies, or maybe the vanilla rings. I don't know. I have to get through them, so I better start with one of them. Let's take the vanilla rings. These are very, very traditional Danish. They are the best, I can tell you. Anyway, I hope you will allow yourself to enjoy coffee and cake. And then hopefully you will remember too, when you're doing this, that the Danes in Slesvig, that they found peace in mind and strength to fight for self-determination by sharing a wonderful table of coffee and cake. It was in their being together that they could look forward and find hope and faith. But even more, on the longer run, they also found reconciliation and coexistence with their former enemies. I hope we can all find these qualities in our lives, sometimes through perseverance, sometimes in our strive for hope in heart and mind, for what we find is important in life, but also by enjoying life, sharing life together. And what better way can you share life than by enjoying coffee and cake together? And by the way, if you didn't know it, well, I guess most of you know it already. But if you didn't know it, of course, Danish cakes, cookies and pastries are the best. There's no doubt about that. But we don't have to fight over that. That's just a matter of fact. Anyway, bon appetit, all of you. Velbekomme. Enjoy your coffee and your baking. Nyd din kaffe og kage. Mange tak for din opmærksomhed. Thank you for following me. Her dansker. Goodbye. Farvel. Or as they say in Slesvig, Danes as well as Germans. Moin. May God bless you all.